Right, hello everyone. Thought I'd do a quick walkthrough of my kayak and how I set it up for bass fishing. Kayak itself is the Galaxy Sturgeon FX, 13 foot. I've owned this for over a year now and really pleased with it. But I thought I'd do a little walkthrough of how I rig it up. Yeah, my sort of basic thoughts on it. So as I said, had the kayak for over a year, just going from bow to stern with a walkthrough. So at the bow here you can see it's got quite a big rocker, really good for surf launches and going through the surf. Really like that. Just put a little bit of duct tape under that bit there just to stop any scratches. Seems to help a bit from it. Big front hatch on the kayak, really improved from the previous sturgeon I had. I had the paddle version of this, so yeah, really like that. Coming forward you can see the start of the trolley system. Just used the rigging that was there originally, haven't added anything to it. So come through up the front here, I've got some lights. I was out very early this morning and always try and have some lights on the kayak. These are kind of cheap ones off AliExpress, they're just knockoffs of the Railblazer ones, about 20 quid. Seem pretty good, so yeah, pleased with those. Just coming forward to the main business of the kayak and why I upgraded, and that's the pedal drive. Obviously with the Hobie pattern going and the flipper drive system, Galaxy have got their own version. This is a year old now and been out probably 20 odd times, and yeah, it's in pretty good condition for a year old. Always rinse it down, keep it well lubed, but really like the fact hands-free kayaking and can kind of troll through. Just taking it through quickly. The big square hatch, really like that. Watertight, you know, doesn't let anything in, lots of room. Get a couple of small tackle boxes in there and your phone and whatever, but yeah, really pleased with that. And next on this side we've got my fish finder. That's the Garmin Striker 4 clear view. Yeah, again, I had a Lowrance Hook 2, but this is far superior with the clear view and the down imaging. But main thing I found is just the user interface on the Garmin was so much easier. I know Lowrance say theirs is the easiest, but I've really been getting on well with the Garmin. In particular, the mapping feature on it. It hasn't got full sort of navigational charts, but just the ability to mark waypoints on there and the depth to do it. Just through to the rod holder. I generally only take one rod out with me. I used to take two, but I was getting tangled and double hookups was a bit of a nightmare. The rod holder that comes with the kayak is pretty rubbish, to be honest with you. So I've upgraded to the Railblazer one, and I've added a little extension arm. That's then nice and perfect and rock solid for when I'm trolling along. Just then through, well, you can see all my lures there, but the seat itself, the seat's okay. I don't love it. I think it's something that Galaxy could work on improving. In particular when you've got it in the lower position, it was quite uncomfortable. Had to do a bit of a mod to drop, as you can see there, that rail there to drop it down. But yeah, it's okay, the seat, it's not terrible, but yeah, maybe if there's an upgrade in the future to do it. Coming through to the rudder control, yeah, no real grumbles, to be honest with you. Works well, hasn't kind of had any issues with me from it. Taking up then, I always carry a net. I know some people just swing the bass in if they're lucky enough to catch one, but I'm always worried about getting a hook in my leg or something like that. So I use that. The rubber mesh helps, though getting a tangle every time. Some of the trebles in it, but I think it's good for the fish safety or the well-being, because generally return all what I catch. Just into the bank, the rear tank well. I think from my previous sturgeon, the paddle one, the tank well's been raised, so it sits a little higher in the water. Yeah, really big tank well. Easily get my sea tug in there, which helps me get it down to the water. On the back, like the front, I've got one of these Railblazer knockoff lights, so pleased with that. I keep saying pleased with everything, but kind of go through, and then finally at the back is the actual rudder. I think over time they'll probably look to copy what Hobie have done and gone for a bigger rudder, but it seems to work well. I think if you're on the rivers when you've got to do very tight turns. It's not got the tightest of turn circles, but like I said, I fish for bass out at sea, so no real issues with that from there. Just a little look back through it. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I mean, for just over £1,000 for the kayak, I think you get a lot of money. I don't really have any basis of comparison because I've always owned Galaxy kayaks. I have used a few other kayaks, sort of renting them on holiday, things like that. Never used a Hobie. I know a lot of people give this kayak a bit of grief online, but for what I find, it's absolutely brilliant. Had it for a year now. Caught nearly 200 bass on it. Generally trolling for bass and chucking lures around. So any questions, just put it in the comments. Just thought I'd do a little walkthrough of how I rig my kayak for bass fishing.